In retaliation for trying to overthrow him and get the show to myself, Tyler tried to get me sick so I would be in isolation and he would get the show to himself. Silly Tyler. Everyone knows that I could be on life support and still make sure I was on desk every Thursday. Hello, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
This show will be on life support without me. And I'm Tyler Small. The 2019 men's cross-country team has won the Atlantic 10 championship. The 2015? When you win the Atlantic 10 11 times, it's easy to lose track. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. Starbucks released their holiday drinks and our fall sports wrapped up this past week, which means winter is coming. We'll get you ready for the upcoming basketball season and recap what we learned from fall.
And later, we'll welcome on two former high school rivals who now make up some of the young core in women's soccer.
But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3.
Number 1. Following a 4-goal performance over the last 2 weeks, senior Nigel Buckley earned the nod as Philly 6 Player of the Week. The senior from Ontario rounded out his career as an Explorer with his first career hat trick on the road against Columbia. This is the second time in his career that he has won the award, with the other dating back to 2019 and a 2-goal performance against Robert Morris.
Number 2. Tayanga Mbambo's performance in the A10 Cross Country Championships over the weekend helped the team to its 11th championship title this weekend, earning the nomination for NovaCare Student Athlete of the Week. Mbambo was the top finisher for the Explorers, placing 4th overall with a time of 24 minutes and 55 seconds. This performance awarded him first team all-conference honors and helped push LaSalle to the top of the leaderboards.
And number 3, LaSalle defenders Shay Collins and Lauren Costello each earned spots in the Atlantic 10 All-Rookie team. Collins has a stellar year, cementing the spot in the left back with 16 starts while leading the team in assists with 4. Costello slotted right back in the back line as well to help bolster the Explorers' defense, being a huge part in 4 clean sheets on the season.
Okay, so LaSalle sports, cleaning up a little.
A little bit.
Cross country with the 11th championship title. I mean, that is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, and we're going to touch on it in a little bit about how incredible it was, but Mbambo was the leading force in that, of course, but it was a full team effort where their first performer to their 5th performer that really racked up the points were separated by less than a minute. You don't really see that usually, and it was just cleaning up once again for them.
And, you know, cross country and track and field, those sports have consistently been doing well. You know, we've talked about it again and again. But just to see them continuing to get titles and legitimately making history, this is not just some, you know, oh, it's another title for them. This is a historical moment. So to have that added to the cross country and track and field, you know, accolades that they have, it's going to be so good for recruiting and just really good morale for the team going forward. Yeah,
it'll continue to bolster those programs, but as we look on the other side, both soccer programs getting the nod for some individual recognitions as well. And I mean, we've been saying it time and time again, it wasn't as exciting of a season as we were prepared for, but to see the defensive unit for the women's side getting a nod at the rookie teams and then Buckley getting credit for his phenomenal season, it's almost passing of the torch for one side and the other side showing us to what's to come.
Yeah, Nigel Buckley has been great all season. He's the top goal scorer for the Explorers, so this is a well-deserved honor for him, especially with the first career hat trick that he had. So this definitely a great honor for him. Shay Collins and Lauren Costello, they have been stellar for the LaSalle women's defense, so definitely a great honor for them too, and just it's well-deserved all around the board. I'm really glad that LaSalle did get some recognition, even though it wasn't their best season, but it's really great to see, you know, some LaSalle names and teams like that.
Especially when you look at Collins and see that you're getting your lead assist distribution from your back left, and that's obviously not ideal for a program and getting an offensive unit out front, but still for her to show that well-roundedness where she was a steady force in a couple of clean sheets and their defensive prowess, but at the same time to have the ability to contribute offensively was huge.
Yeah, and you know, we'll take it where we can get it. But that's it for the top 3. Now let's see how our teams did in this week's recaps. The combined performance of Tayanga Mbambo, Ibrahim Kadir, Luke Yachu-Zerakowski, Ryan James, and James Pidak at the Atlantic 10 Championships pushed the LaSalle men's cross-country team to victory as the program claimed its 11th Atlantic 10 title on Saturday. The Explorers clocked in an average time of 25 minutes and 10 seconds in the 8K, finishing with a team score of 53 points. LaSalle led runner-up St. Louis by nearly 40 points. Mbambo and Kadir led the charge for LaSalle, finishing 4th and 6th respectively. Zerakowski and James both finished in the top 15, as Pidak finished just 30 seconds behind the lead in 16th. Mbambo, Kadir, Yachu-Zerakowski, and James all placed in the top 15 to earn all conference honors. Head coach Tom Peterson brought home the Men's Coach of the Year award.
The field hockey team won in their season finale as senior night against St. Joe's. The game started off in favor of the Hawks, with St. Joe's scoring just 7 minutes into the game to take the early lead. The first half of the match put a lot of pressure on sophomore Ryan Curley, who made 5 saves to keep the deficit at 1 to end out the half. The third quarter was pretty uneventful, as each side recorded 1 shot for a majority of the quarter. However, with under a minute left in the third, St. Joe's found the back of the net once again to give themselves a 2-0 lead going into the final quarter and into the end. LaSalle was blown out after St. Joe's sealed the deal with a penalty shot to give them the 3-0 advantage. The Hawks ultimately dominated with this one, as 19 shots were put on net versus 2 for LaSalle. Curley was able to record 7 saves for the blue and gold.
Men's soccer ended their season in a truly fantastic manner, earning a victory against George Mason on the road. The front line we all know and love, made up of seniors Nigel Buckley and Amari Cotterell, along with sophomore Junior Nare, showed that the Explorers meant business early on in the game, with each of the 3 players firing shots in the first 9 minutes. However, it would be sophomore Scott Beeks that would net the first goal for the blue and gold, thanks to a great cross from junior Isaac Sedin. Frank Amizwe would then have an unsuccessful shot on goal, but he would set up a Junior Nare goal to put the Explorers up 2-0. George Mason scored a goal of their own in the first half, but LaSalle wasn't fazed as Beeks raced down the left side of the field to cross a ball to Buckley, who sent a laser into the back of the net for a third LaSalle goal. In the 74th minute, a corner kick would see the ball land at Sedin's feet, who took a shot from the left corner of the box, where Gamizwe would head it into the net to seal the Explorers' 4-1 victory.
The rowing team had a strong outing at the Schuylkill Regatta, with the men's team, 4+, sealing the show with a silver medal performance. The crew of Johan Kroll, Joe Yeager, Joel Benevor, and Elmo Van Olm, coxswained by Dominic Mazza, were the first boat for the river at LaSalle, finishing with a time of 13 minutes and 37 seconds, to claim a silver medal for the blue and gold. The women's Frosh 8+ team also recorded a silver medal, led by coxswain Emily Perry. The crew finished just 17 seconds behind first place Lehigh, with a time of 14 minutes and 8 seconds in the championship A+10 race. The women's A crew finished with the top 10 out of 41 entries. They finished just over 30 seconds out of the top 3 finish, crossing the finish line with a time of 13 minutes and 34 seconds. Intermittent head coach Bill Manning said that the performance was, quote, "The team raced with a powerful and with good results. The class of 2025, our first year, led the way, winning with a silver medal. We also placed well in the championship events, especially relative to our traditional rivals. It's a good, fun start to the season and will give the rowers some further motivation for the spring."
The men's golf team ended their season on a high note at the City 6 Invitational on Saturday. Senior Matt Werner finished the 18-hole event 1 under to shoot 70. This landed him at the top of the leaderboard at the end of the day, making him co-champion of the tournament as one player from Drexel tied his score. This is the first individual tournament championship for LaSalle this season. Close behind the lead was Kristen Fordes, shooting a 5/76. Nikita Romanoff ended the day with a 77, while sophomore Matt LaFon shot 80. Freshman Alex Gekis and Ryan Smiley rounded out the team with scores of 9 and 10 over. Okay, so we have some really great ends to seasons. Men's soccer, obviously, 4-1 win. You can't really ask for much better than that. You know, Buckley, Nare, they got goals. You know, what else is new? And I just want to give a big shout out to Canada, because they've given us a lot of great players for track and soccer. So shout out to the Canadians. You know, but with Buckley and Cotterell, they're in the top 3, you know, LaSalle scores. And it's really interesting because they have more individual goals. You know, last year the top scorers, there were 3 of them, all tied at 3 goals. Buckley has 7, Nare has 6, and Cotterell has 4. So it's kind of interesting to see that they have a higher goal count, but there's less of a distribution and less diversity in their goal scoring. And then you have Scott Beeks, who led the team with 4 assists. So offensively, it's actually statistically been a better year for them, but then you look at the games and the stats and it kind of tells a different story. So it's interesting to kind of see the tale of 2 soccer teams in that sense.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to look for anything, you're going to look for the latter, because it's very easy to get a man-on-man matchup that isn't favorable for the Explorers, and then your offensive unit's kind of in trouble because of that. So being such a top-heavy team, obviously, it leads for easier stuff for us to talk about, obviously, in the stellar performances that we see week in and week out. But it also comes with a problem when we see where we are today, where it's just Nare coming back, essentially. We're the top 1 through 3, such offensive production, they're going to graduate eventually, as much as we don't want them to. So as soon as they walk out the door, now it's going to be Nare kind of leaving behind. I'd like to see who steps up. Kim had a phenomenal year picking up a goal alongside Bruno, who we're looking to see take some better strides. They both had 4 points and 1 goal altogether. So we'll see who takes that next step, and hopefully it can be a bigger unit kind of picking up the overhaul that they're going to leave.
And it's also difficult because we're at that point where it's a big sophomore class, and a lot of times with players, if they're going to transfer, this is the time they do it, after 2 years. So we could be faced with some players leaving, and then, you know, Taylor Thames having to figure that out and figure out who to replace with that. So that brings in a whole another level of complication. It's still not entirely clear who the starting goalie is going to be next year, now that Brett Werner and Mitch Foster aren't going to be there. So, you know, there's a lot of deciding to do for the soccer team in the off season, but, you know, I think with this under their belts that they'll have it figured out.
Yeah, I hope so too.
And that's it for recaps. When we come back, Tyler got a chance to sit down with Kelly McGroarty and Olivia Vercella in studio to talk about the highs and lows of the 2021 season.
This is Kevin, and Kevin could use some kindness. Here's Ian. He could be that man. Ian chooses to be inconsiderate and not hold the door for Kevin, and in turn, Kevin suffers. Kindness may be a choice, but doing so is always the right one. So if Ian can make the right choice, you can too.
Welcome back. Women's soccer came to an end with the team playing their best at the end of the year, opening the door to what's soon to come for the program. Here's more from sophomore Kelly McGroarty and Olivia Vercella here with this week's edition of On the Sidelines. Thanks, Tyler. And hello and welcome to this week's edition of On the Sideline. Today we have a couple of women's soccer players. We have Kelly McGroarty and Olivia Vercella. And before we get into the season that was and kind of how it ended on a great fashion for Kelly, we have two players that are together now and are unified by the Explorers, but were once rivals. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, she was our rival in high school at Shawnee, and then I went to Eastern, so we saw each other like 4 times in a season, and it was always a very hard-fought, physical, and close game.
How quick did it take when you started playing with each other to realize that you had this rivalry and this matchup and that you were even guarding one another?
Well, I knew right away because when I was in high school, I was put to man mark Kelly. So I had known her for like years before, but she actually had no idea who I was apparently. And like the first day we met, I was like, I guarded you in high school, so like, I know you're good. So I was really excited to play with her. I'd rather be on the same team with her than going against her again. Right. So yeah, it was really fun to start playing with her.
And you guys obviously practice, and a lot of it is scrimmage based, like picking each other up. How much did you experience of that so far this season, just going back to almost that rivalry now on the same team?
Well, since I only played like a couple weeks in the beginning before my injury, I didn't get to play that often with her, but when I did, I kind of knew what to expect.
Honestly, we were hanging out more in the training room because I was injured at the time.
Right.
So we were both on the injured list. I luckily got back, but
yeah.
It's okay, buddy.
Yes, well, thankfully for the team as well, you came back at the end of the season. We're looking forward to your return, of course, but you ended the season very strong. You got the NovaCare Student Athlete of the Week for all athletics, but you really led the charge for the Explorers' hot finish to the season. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So unfortunately our season did end that game. We needed a win. That's why it was such a big celebration, because after that game it was relying on other teams to win or lose. And unfortunately both teams got upset. It was like the number 1 and number 3 teams lost to like the 7th and 8th. So we couldn't get in, but in that moment we thought it was like a season saving goal, so everyone was just super excited, and it was really awesome moment and definitely my favorite moment this far in my career here.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. That it was a huge moment for the team, obviously, and for the stakes it was to send you into the playoffs. But regardless, it sends you into next season on a very positive note. You guys are such a young, driven team. How does that feel to have such a positive upside coming ahead of you?
We've been really looking forward, at least my class, to our junior year. Obviously, COVID year, we didn't really know the seniors all that well because we were separated so much just because of regulations and stuff. And then this year we got a lot closer with the now seniors, but we were close with the juniors. So, and then obviously we love the freshmen. There's so many of them. So like, it's just like a very close-knit group. So it's just going to be an awesome year next year. I truly believe that. And we're going to make A10s. I'm telling you now, Paul.
All right, well, you heard it here first. We'll hold you to that next year. But until then, we'll talk about what this upcoming offseason is like. I mean, this is your first season really experiencing normalcy in terms of it going back to the fall, getting back into your normal routine. This will be your first real off-season to train with the team. What are both of you looking forward to?
I mean, I'm just looking forward to getting back out there, being healthy and getting stronger. But I know it's going to be a lot of work because the spring season, I've heard, is going to be really tough. Yeah. But, it's all out of love. We're just trying to get a good, fit team together. So
We'll definitely be fit.
For sure.
100% be fit.
Well, that's good going into the summer, at least, for anyone's sake, let alone for your soccer season. But, yeah, so there's a lot to look forward to, obviously, and we'll go into a little bit of some fun questions now to finish it off, to get a little bit to know a little bit more about your personalities. So we're all New Jerseyans, but I'm north, you two are south. What's your stance on pizza? What's your stance on pizza from New Jersey?
Well, I'm a big foodie. I love food. I love pizza, and pizza is very important to me to find a good place. I have a place in my hometown called Riviera Pizza, and that's really, really good. But I will say that I think North Jersey pizza is better.
Thank you for that. You have any thoughts on the pizza debate we've been having before the show?
I mean, I just like all types of pizza, to be honest. You put pepperoni or plain in front of me, whatever, I'm going to eat it. I mean, I just like pizza.
All right. Well, so we'll stay on food, and now we'll go for more LaSalle cuisine. What's your go-to order at the Union? You can go to any place there. You have any amount of SFA available. What would you go for?
That's easy. I get for breakfast, I always do eggs and like the potatoes because I love the potatoes. But for dinner, I'm always getting the stir fry there. I love the stir fry.
Okay. What about you?
I usually go for the gyro. Those are really good. But they also have like killer tater tots. Those are really good too.
And the burrito bowls are good.
Burrito bowls are good.
It's all good.
It's all good. We'll go back to soccer. So talk about some of your best soccer moments, whether it came from the team this year. You were talking about that moment just a couple of days ago. What's your best sporting moment?
Well, mine this year is probably the first scrimmage I had. We played Villanova, and it was not a good team performance because we were all getting used to each other, and we lost that game. But I came in as a freshman, like really, really nervous, and a bunch of the wingers had been out for COVID reasons. So I got to start that game, which was like really nerve-wracking for me, but I ended up doing really, really well. And I got like the wristband that game. So that was.
She was the best player on the field. She was. She stood out.
Thanks, Cal.
Yeah, no problem. Buddy. I got to watch. I was injured.
Right. But what would you say your moment is, really quick?
Probably my junior year. We were playing Shawnee, and we were losing 2-1. And with 3 minutes left, I tied the game up, and then we ended up by winning states, and I scored the winning goal there too.
It's a pretty good memory as well. But
Yeah.
that was actually going to be the last question that I asked. When you guys played against each other, who had the upper hand, do you think?
Definitely Kelly. Oh my gosh, yeah. Marking her was very difficult because she's crazy good in the air, like with her head. However, the last game I remember playing against her, I held her to no goals, I think. I mean, not Riley, but you. I was so focused on marking her that I literally like stayed so tight to her. So that was good defense by me, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But thankfully, those times are in the past. Olivia, Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. And with that, I'm going to send it back to the desk. Wow, now Siobhan, that's an interview.
Oh, okay.
That was an interview.
Are you really trying to start something here? Wow, all right.
I think I just finished it, but that was, I had a great chat with them. I obviously talked a little bit about the insight that they had on the season and really exciting things to come.
Yeah, there's no one better to talk to than, some of the young players, and the soccer players always give us great content, so that'll be really good. So we're going to head into another break, but after this one, we will be previewing the much anticipated basketball seasons.
This is my husband, Alex Hussey.
Alex is about 2 weeks away from coming home.
I was point man on foot patrol, and I stopped on the bomb. Lost my legs and my left hand in an explosion.
And he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
There are so many mountains to climb, and we do it together.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
To watch Alex take on this mountain, that's what this is all about.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Alex has conquered this mountain. That's something he won't forget.
With the right support, there are no limits.
Look at that smile! You did it!
But there's more to be done, and more victories to be won.
This has meant so much.
Thank you, DAV.
Alex Hussey, thank you for your service. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
MS does suck.
MS mucks with your central nervous system. Almost everything about your body, your muscles, your organs, your ability to speak, your ability to understand, your ability to move.
MS took everything from me, everything I thought was important, everything I valued.
I used to jump in a trampoline and swim with the kids.
MS has affected me being a mom because I'm sorry.
Despite MS, I will keep riding my bike.
I will continue to be the strongest mom that I possibly can.
I will will still dance with my husband.
I will continue to live the life that my daughter expects me to live.
Multiple sclerosis may be a part of who you are, but it doesn't define you.
I will never stop. I will never quit.
I'm going to keep being me.
Basketball season is right around the corner for both teams, starting their season this Tuesday, November 9th. The men's side is coming off the season where they finished a 9-16 record, highlighted by an upset win over St. Louis at home. And the women's team comes in with a 13-14 record with a 3-game winning streak, all against Atlantic 10 foes. So Siobhan, men's or women's side, they're both exciting. They're coming to us. Who are you more excited for?
That's a tough one. I'm going to say women's basketball by a little bit. I really think that this is going to be the year of Molly Massantonio. I think she's really going to have an amazing year. She played all 26 games last season, averaged 7.7 points per game. She shot 33.3% overall, 30.5% from deep, and 78.6% from the line. I'm starting to sound too much like Tyler, but I think she's really going to do well this season. But men's basketball is also going to be exciting because they have transfers and freshmen that are really going to make all the difference for them. Josh Nickelberry is a player, if I had to pick one, I'd say I'm most excited to see him play. But yeah, I'm going to say women's basketball because they have a lot of leadership and a lot of experience, and that's really going to kind of make the difference for them and improve on that record that they had last year.
Yeah, I agree with your Molly Massantonio point. I think that she is going to take the loss of Hill. That was such a great distributor. I think I did a little mock starting lineups for them. So I think she's going to be a starting point guard. Kayla Sproul will take shooting guard. Jordan Lewis, I think, will get that small forward, and I think she's going to be a huge factor to the team's success if she can take that next step. Because then you got Claire Jacobs and Michelle Kosnick, who didn't get a lot of run last year. They're very slim on the big position. And I think if she could bring up just 5 points a game and just bring in a couple of rebounds, I think it'll be a huge factor for that. And then if we look at the men's side just quickly, I think Jameer Brickus is going to take that next step. He is my player to look out for. He will be a starting point guard. Sharif Kenny, shooting guard. Christian Ray, small forward. Jack Clark, power forward. And Clifton Moore, center. I mean, this is a team that we were expecting big things from, and they got a lot of run last year. Yeah, they've all been working hard, and, it's been more easy for them because they've actually had a chance to work out and, get team chemistry. So we'll see how they do next week. And that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com. You can also check out on the digital edition of The Collegian, which now features SportsLine content. Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/SalTV and on Instagram at SportsLineLTV. We welcome you to send your thoughts and suggestions there. This week's poll is, Siobhan works out, no comment. Who do you think can lift more? I mean, look at the guns. Look at the gun show. I see you in the gym, Tyler. I see you lifting. I guess we'll find out. But for our entire SportsLine team, I'm Siobhan Nolan. And I'm Tyler Small. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you at the game.